But welcome everybody. Hope everyone has had a great week, and um, just I'm looking forward to this call to see how things are going. I hope Heidi gets on because I'd love to talk some more, continue our conversation with her from last week, because I know she had kind of seen a shift in a lot of things that were happening, and want to talk about that, what you guys are seeing. I know her and I were doing a podcast yesterday, so I do know that, now is their busy time typically with their properties in Mexico. And so that's obviously not happening. They're struggling with that. But I know with some of the other stuff, she was optimistic about some of the things they were seeing. So I do want to talk about that. I just thought I'd lead things off a little bit. Just, I don't know if any of you have seen them or followed them at all, but a while back, I guess it was a week and a half ago, I was talking to someone and they wanted just almost a pep talk each morning, just to kind of keep them focused now that they're working from home and stuff. And we were talking about that, and they asked if that's something I would help with, and I actually decided to do it on video. And I've been posting them every day, on Instagram and Facebook, and on jeffhagee.com. I've been posting them. I call them success strategy videos. And what I talked about today, and we've kind of talked about this subject on and off during this, but what I talked about today is there's so many times that we look back in life and realize that, we might have been going through a difficult time, or at the time thought it was a tragedy, or so many different challenges that we go through. And when we can look back on them, we realize that maybe they were a blessing in disguise, or it was an epiphany moment that something changed and we were forced to make a change or do something differently. And it's led to a different road, different path that we're taking, or whatever it might be. But we can, credit some of the success or all of the success that we're having at a certain point on a previous event that we thought at the time might have been a tragedy or a difficult time. And what I talked about in that video this morning is how opportune would it have been during those times if we would have realized that those were going to be our epiphany moments, that we would be able to look back and in that moment say, hey, I know this is going to be a turning point in my life, and it's going to help me be successful in the future. How much quicker could we have been in making that road and finding that success and those things? So with that in mind, what is it that we can take out of this situation now? Because there's going to be a lot of people that this is the turning point. This is the turning point that they figure out their new path, whether it's, the examples I used in the video this morning. Maybe it's someone that lost a job and they finally have the opportunity to start that company that they've always wanted to start. And, they've never wanted to leave their secure job, but now their secure job isn't so secure and they're forced to do something else, and it's that opportunity for them. Or maybe it's someone that has always worked their 9 to 5 job, or maybe 9 to 9 job, and they're never home, and this has forced them to start working from home. And some of the things that we've talked about every week on the tools and resources that can make you work remotely, and they're realizing that this is a change for them. This really is going to be a defining moment for a lot of people, and I'm just hoping that we can help people recognize some of the opportunities that are going to be there for them, and if nothing else, at least be thinking about it, so that when those opportunities start to come up, you're more aware of them and you're more engaged in doing those things so that you can take advantage of them. So any thoughts or anything on that? I'd love to hear feedback or thoughts, but if not, even just have that in mind as you're going through everything that we're facing with this pandemic, and hopefully it'll be something that's beneficial for everyone. But love to hear any feedback or anything, but if not, love to get in some conversations on what you guys are up to, what challenges you would like some feedback on, or what you're seeing. Last week we talked a lot about some of the trends. We're starting to see some positive things happening. Are we still seeing that? Are we seeing anything different? So yeah, let's open it up and go ahead and let's talk about those things. Hey, Joseph, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'll my video's not sharing. Hold on. So what I find really interesting right now is this impasse that we have state by state as to how each governor is handling the restrictions. Because, unlike times in the past where it's pretty much federally mandated or it's pretty much a peanut butter spread across the board, I think it's going to be a really interesting inflection period for the next 3 to 6 months, as some states are further, like obviously Georgia comes to mind, right? Further ahead in their progression of unwinding the stay-at-home order versus others. And I think it's going to make it somewhat challenging from a business perspective. And so I think really our ability to adapt on the fly and to be mindful of that, and also to be aware of the state by state regulations and keep current with that, especially if we have clients that are in those states, is going to be key for the next couple of months. So that's something that I've really been kind of grinding on today. I obviously was tuned into the California address by Governor Newsom. And so, California's way over here compared to, Georgia, right? So it's going to cause a bit of disparity.
That's a good point, especially for someone like you. Like right now, you're in Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm in Texas right now.
You're in Texas. You got all your stuff going on in California, and you've got to be watching both, and anywhere you've got clients as well. So yeah, that's a great point. And it's also interesting to see how people are reacting to things. The social distancing thing here in Arizona, I think it's been pretty well observed, pretty good as far as I know. I mean, it's not like I'm out there a lot seeing whether or not it is, but I did just I had to go to Lowe's today. There is no social distancing going on there. I mean, that parking lot was full, and yeah, it was just like, okay, this is just a normal day at Lowe's. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate it.
I did a Home Depot run the other day, and it was the same thing. So I feel you. What's this I hear about the Arizona beaches being completely crowded, though? I just saw something on Facebook 10 minutes ago about that.
Well, I will admit to something else, I guess. Most of the lakes are closed. I don't know. There's actually quite a few lakes, and I don't know if they're all closed, but I know most of the boating lakes are closed. But I was actually on a lake with my family and another family. Were on a lake all day yesterday. And yeah, I was surprised how many people were out there with their boats. There was quite a few. And it was a lake that they said it was a lake that's typically not as busy as it was, but of course, being one of the only ones that was open, there's a lot of people out there.
Yeah, every time I leave my house, I'm expecting what is it, the tumbleweeds to roll across the street or something. It's supposed to be a ghost town, and it's not. Everyone is just. I for those who don't know me, I'm in Phoenix, so I'm just probably about 45 minutes away from Jeff. But yeah, every time I go somewhere, I'm I'm truly expecting a ghost town, and it's nope, not at all. Everyone is still traffic, still running. We have crazy drivers here in Arizona. Still running red lights, stop signs, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're still doing it.
But at the same time, I was talking to one of my lawyers the other day, and he's in Calgary, Alberta, and he's in downtown Calgary on one of the busiest streets there. It's, I've worked in downtown Calgary when I was in the banking industry, and I know how busy it is. And he, as he was talking to me, looked out the window, and he says, as far as I can see down the road, I see one person. And so there are areas that are definitely cutting back that way. But yeah, I mean, like you're saying, Cameron, and like we were just saying, at Home Depot and Lowe's, and there's places that it's definitely not happening.
It's interesting, some of the shifts that we're finding. Typically in our business, the weekends is when the big demand and push is. But we're finding that trend is changing now. So people are out shopping midweek rather than weekends. And so it's making it really difficult for us to forecast the numbers. Now, is this trend going to stick even after this coronavirus is over? We don't know. But and what are people doing on the weekends now versus what they were going out shopping? Again, it's uncertain, but that's certainly one of the trends we're seeing. Yet the stores seem to be busy all the time with shopping. So something I thought I'd throw out there.
Yeah, thank you.
One thing I just thought about, and I don't know, maybe this is, people can correct me on this, but I feel like people are forming new habits right now, like so we're doing things, and we've been doing these things for how long have we been living like this? 6 to 8 weeks, depending on where you live. And that is enough time to start a habit. And so I think as we move forward in our businesses, I think something that we need to take into consideration or factor in our projections, whatever they may be, is, okay, how can we compensate for some new habits that people are forming? Like, for example, I don't know, I don't even think about taking my kids out. And so I don't know, there's just different things I think people are starting to do now that are different. And just because a governor comes out and says, hey, you can start doing this again, I wonder how long that's really gonna take into effect, or what kind of habits are gonna, I don't know, carry through and just be kept. Does that make sense? I don't know.
It does.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a question to throw out there and see what other people think.
I think definitely a lot more companies are going to start realizing that, people can work from home. It is possible. I know a lot of the times past employers, yes, you could work from home. They quote unquote understood that you could, but didn't really understand the technology of how. And I think that's going to drastically change, where a lot of people are going to be like, you know what? I actually got a lot more done when I work from home. So let's renegotiate my employment agreement here, where I can work from home 1 or 2 days a week, knowing that now it is possible, that the tools are there. They always have been, but now the head honchos are seeing it is possible and can still get stuff done, if not more, at home than they were when they were in the office.
Yeah, I would actually agree with you on that, Cameron. And I guess I'm curious too, is there anyone on this call that is seeing that from your own perspective, that you can work remotely or work from home more than you have in the past? Or do you have staff that you would see yourself allowing that to happen more than you have in the past?
Hey, can I say something?
You bet.
Hey, I kind of live in a different world than everybody else, is what I figured out about a month ago. I do agree completely with Liz that people are forming new habits. And I do agree with her exactly that people are finding out that there's other ways to get things done. Zoom, I don't know who started Zoom, but they blew up. I don't know how they get revenue, but if they're not the richest company in the world, I don't know who is right now, because they're the fastest growing. I'll tell you that right now. And so, because everybody's communicating through Zoom, I used to have to ask people, do you know what Zoom is? And they'd always say no. Well, you don't hardly know anybody that doesn't know what Zoom is now. If they're in the business world, or if they've been working from home, it doesn't really matter if they work for the town or if they work at a hospital, they're a doctor, lawyer. But I learned that even though they said, I'll give you an example. 3 weeks ago, our governor said, hey, after 5 p.m., don't be out. I don't want to, let's really try to shut this down. I had to drive back from southeastern Arizona. I was shooting some horses, and I got to the Circle K to get diesel. And I don't think it's ever been that busy at 7:30 at night, the day after he said, hey, 5 o'clock. So both sides of the fence, I've seen more so not a lot of change in my life, but and not a lot of change in the lives of people around me, and yet the Zoom thing blew fishing.
Joseph, I don't know if it happened to everyone, but that last 5 seconds you cut out on us.
I see. So the last 5 seconds I said, I think it's going to help our country be more efficient in doing business. I also think that economically, these states aren't going to be able to stay shut down very long. It's more important now that we have some really good numbers on really what your chances are of dying from it, are so, and people are starting to find that out, and doctors are saying it, and nurses are on the phone with the nurse that I shoe her horses, and I said, hey, you're a nurse in the hospice world. I don't know if you know what hospice is, but that's at the end of someone's life, and you know how many people and what's the concerns. And she literally said, we have no reason to be so worried about this. And the antibody tests are coming out, and they're finding that there are hundreds of thousands of people off on who's been exposed and who has an antibody. So that's all really good news for us, because when that news gets out there, our economy, I think, will reopen better and more efficiently from having been through this. Just my 2 cents.
No, I agree. I think, you know, it doesn't matter what time period we look in, we're always facing some sort of tragedy, some sort of problem, whatever. Obviously, this is a big one, and the spread of it has been large. But I think it is something that we can come out of and really bring some positive things out of it. And it's going to hurt the economy because we have been shut down so long. But in the end, I think we'll probably be more lean, and there's going to be a lot of good things come out of it. And, you know, going back to there's so much of it that's just making assumptions and guessing and not knowing and stuff. But I think you're right. Once they start being able to do the testing and stuff, I think we're going to find out that a lot of people were exposed to it a long time ago that maybe had no idea, and they've already got those antibodies. I'm pretty sure that I was, because I'm pretty confident that my assistant coach all winter had it, and I survived coaching with him all winter. Because he was coughing all season long.
Yeah. But like you said, with being efficient, that's going to be a huge thing for a lot of people, because before, everyone got so lax with the technology, phones, and being away from home, traveling, just pretty much just running around all the time. And now you're forced to sit and look at what's happening around you. And now you're realizing, oh, okay, these are some things I could do differently. Or even just with your devices, they're learning that they can use those devices more efficiently now, instead of just for a phone call or playing solitaire, Candy Crush.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm with you on that one, Melissa. I think one thing that I've definitely learned is I feel like I'm doing a lot less busy work. Even though I feel like I'm just as busy between everything, I feel like I'm a lot more focused on what I do and want to get done, and I have to learn to prioritize things for sure. But I feel like just those things that prevent me from being truly successful and truly putting all the effort that I need to into certain projects, those things I've forced like right out. And also too, like, I've never been a tech girl in any way. I am not a technology girl in any way, shape, or form, but I am impressed the way that I've learned so many different programs. Just ask Cameron, she works with me all the time. And when we first started working together, I'm just like, I don't know, like, they're just most simplest things, but I know like these things I'm learning now, they're just going to propel me in the future. And I'm really grateful for that, for sure.
I'm in Houston, and I passed by a Best Buy and an AT&T store this week. And I'm like, okay, they're shut down. Nobody can't go in to look at, whatever devices to purchase. But they set it up to where you can pull up and they will somehow they're bringing a menu or something out to you to make your purchase, or are you making your purchases online and they're just coming out, checking, verifying numbers, and bring you your whatever you purchase. So efficiency in that sense, now AT&T, I'm sure they're going to hold on to this, because every time you go in there, whether you have an appointment or not, you're going to be in that minimum an hour, hour and a half, minimum. So I think with that, they're able to spend 15, 20 minutes, somebody drive through, give them what they have, answer whatever questions, and you move on. So I think this is, with businesses like this, it's going to completely change the way they've done their customer service.
You know what, with Best Buy, I had my router and modem go out on me and had to get new stuff. And the way they do it with the curbside pickup, you order it off their app or online, whichever. And then you just, here in Arizona, you drive up and they've got, let's just say you have pylons telling you where to go, and you pull up, you give them your name, and they'll tell you where to go park, what number to stall, and then they bring it right to you. After I bought a couple things from there, I actually tweeted Best Buy and I told them, I said, when this is all over, keep this around. I love it. It was awesome. It was efficient. It was fast. And yeah, I didn't spend, because I can get in Best Buy and I can spend a half hour doing nothing, just looking at trinkets. So I loved it. So that's a great point.
Well, and I think this is also like a lot of people who, they have the mom and pop shop where, yeah, they may have like a website, but it's just informational and it's got their, directions on there, and they're so used to being in person, they're realizing how important actually having more stuff on their website is. That it's not just yep, here's where we're located. It's and not necessarily e-commerce or anything like that, because a lot of times there's certain things where you do have to go see it in person, but having more expanded and advanced website where people can go look for it and be like, oh, okay, yes, when things open back up, I definitely need to go to this place, because they have more information and pictures of what they do sell. And I have noticed that, because I scroll through like Upwork and all that stuff every now and then, and a lot of people who their businesses are face to face, normally they're realizing you can't be, with this whole thing, you've got to get more online. And again, it doesn't have to be e-commerce, but giving people that information to where if certain limitations are lifted, people have enough information to want to know that's where they're going to go when they can go back out.
You know what, Cameron, that's a great point. And actually the stuff I just recorded for the course you and I are doing together, I talk a lot about that, because so many, just exactly what you said, people go to a website looking for information. So if they're not a now buyer that's ready to buy something right now, they're going to go to your site. And if it's just a yellow page ad where it's got a phone number and address and that's it, you're not getting anywhere with them. And, they're going on to the next site and they're probably going to forget about you. You've got to be able to have those things on there that is giving them that information, so that if they're not ready to buy right then, they're still going to be coming back to you, because you're the one that's been providing them the information they needed. So you're exactly bang on there.
Yeah. And I think I shared my panel that I was on with you and Liz.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's not about just sharing the information, but having a good a memorable user experience on your website. So yeah, have the content, but it has to be a good looking, easy to navigate website as well. Like that is the key too, because if and as I said in my panel, if your nephew designed it for a junior high project, no, people probably aren't gonna go back to you because it's not memorable. It's old school, out of date. So yeah, it's all about the information you display and how you display it. Is it easy for the person to find exactly what they're looking for?
Yeah. And that's what I've talked a lot about too with clients is, every business has a website. Probably over 95% of businesses probably have some sort of web presence. But how many of them, and a lot of them have put good money into them, but how many of them haven't even looked at their own website in the last 5 years? and they don't realize what's out of date and what's not working, what they need to do. So that's a great point.
I think also with, your website, regardless if you have a product or service, is automation. So if you're going to have, set your campaigns up to where you have some type of automation sequence, so you don't have to waste a lot of time that, oh, I need to go back and do this email. I need to go back and send this. And you're sending the same thing. Just build out a campaign, make it automated, time it out, and you just simply tag them. So it's also content that you're sharing in that way too, but understand that you want to manage your time efficiently and just do something that's automated. And just, it may take you time to build it out, but once it's done, it's done.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, my golden rule I tell all clients is if you do something more than 3 times, you need to automate it so that you never have to do it again.
Stop chopping and sharpen the saw. Sharpen
Exactly.
the axe.
Yep.
Hey, so this has been, I've really enjoyed listening to this conversation, but before we run out of time, one of the things I do want to just open up, we can continue on with this, or is there anything that anyone wants to specifically talk about, something that they're dealing with right now, that they would like some feedback on, or just like to share with the group? And if not, I'm happy to continue this conversation on thoughts and anything around any of what we've been talking about.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go back to the the percentage of companies online that is actually sad. It is less than 60%. It is a lot of people out, a lot of companies out there still do not understand the importance of a website. Well, yeah, a website at all. It's actually, the other day when we were doing some research for a client, it was really stunning to me that it was, I'm sorry, not 60%, it was less than 70. Yeah, 70% of businesses have an online presence.
Okay.
The other 30% don't understand the importance of it. And so yeah, there's 30% of businesses out there who aren't online and don't understand. They just have like a Facebook page and they think that that is enough. So yeah, it's crazy. If you're not online these days, you don't exist, because that's the first place people go, and not a Facebook page. You have to actually have a website.
Mm-hmm. And out of that 70% that is online, I would venture to guess that still you say that 30% don't understand the importance of it. That 70%, probably a big percentage of them don't understand the importance of it either and have neglected the tools that they have in front of them.
Exactly. And you can't just have a website and then just ignore it and be like, okay, well, I've got a website, I'm good to go. No, a website is a work in progress, always. You always have to update your copy, your graphics, everything. Every time you update something, it scrolls back through the search engines to get you ranked higher. Every time you need to research new keywords, do your SEO, everything. So it's not like a set it and forget it type of thing. You have to keep it updated.
It's actually something I read last week too that was interesting, that Google looks at, if you go into say you're looking at your blog, you go into an old blog and make some updates to that they look at that the same as they look at new content.
Yep, exactly. Yep, there are 22 factors in the Google algorithm, and 21 of them can always be updated. The one is the thing that just Google's algorithm in the back end in general, but 21 of them should always be updated in order to help you rank in Google, just based off of the copy, the SEO in the background. And SEO is not just a keywords and a cool plugin. It's so much more, and you have to have all of them connected in order to keep that up. So yeah, absolutely.
So I've got a question. As a franchisee, there's certain restrictions, limitations, I guess, that I have with what I can do online. And obviously, we're in a sales and distribution, but if you think about fast food franchise or other franchises that are out there, I'm looking for some suggestions on what I could possibly do with my own website to promote my own business that's regional, of course, to hopefully market it and drive more business to me as I'm out searching for additional business. So I'm open as any suggestions anybody has, and I know a lot of people in this call are quite versed in technology. So please share.
So with the you have a franchisee website. Does the franchisor control it, or do you still have access to the back end in order to update stuff as you see fit?
Yeah, no, in this case, the franchisor has full control of that website.
Okay. So I would recommend, because I've been in the whole franchisor franchisee industry before, I would recommend letting them know that, hey, I would like to make updates, and if if they won't give you access to be able to do it yourself, let them know exactly what updates you want made. Let them know the importance of it, and hopefully they will make it. Being at the franchisor level in the past, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they're just too busy, and they're like, nope. It's kind of like a curated content where it just streams down from their main site down to the franchisee site. But just let them know that, hey, these certain things have been up there for 3 months. Okay, that's stale content now. That doesn't matter to Google anymore at all. 3 months, too old. So just I would say just reach out to them and let them know that, hey, certain things need to be updated. Also, ask them for your keywords. What do they have in the back end for keywords? And once you look through the list, be like, okay, well, let's add this, this, and this to each region. And it might help. You might see some things. And I always tell every client, wait 90 days. Like, make your changes and then wait 90 days, because 90 days is a good point to really see improvement in any changes, because that's how long it takes Google to recrawl and kind of reassess everything that you've updated.
And Tanya made a good point in the chat, if you all see that as well. She just made the comment that reviews on your local business are huge as well. And as a franchise, they might have the reviews, but if you can get them on your local for you specifically, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's great. That's kind of some of the local or things that pertain to my business specific. I think the franchisor actually does a fairly good job at what they do, and I think they update things fairly regular. But I'm just another number. I'm just another franchisee, and so I'm looking at ways that I can obviously hone in on services that I provide, so that when I do approach people in their community, that they're already aware of me, and it's just that much easier to do a sale.
Are you allowed to do your own, like, Google My Business, Facebook, any of that, or are they in control of that as well?
I believe I'd have to double check the agreement, but I'm pretty sure that we're fairly limited with what we could do. And that's
Okay.
why I've been trying to figure out what I could do and then approach them with an idea saying, hey, this is what I'd like to try. Can I be authorized to do it?
Yeah, I would definitely suggest, reaching out to them and seeing what your limitations are, because if you can have your own Google My Business or Facebook page, starting your own local region or regional social media page, or start doing your own content, and make sure that, obviously, having the knowledge of the franchisor or franchisee, make sure that they approve any unique posts that you put, and it's still very specific to and on brand to them, because I know that's what's important to the franchisor. But see what your limitations are, and see if you can't, at least have some control over like the social media or the email marketing with their approval of anything that does go out to make sure it's on brand.
That would be nice, the Google My Business, because that still links back to the website, but that's where you can get your reviews and make it a lot more specific to you too, if they'll allow you to do that.
Exactly.
Good. Hope that's helpful, Sheldon, and probably is
Yes,
to
it was.
others as well. Good. Any other?
And yeah, Sheldon, reach out to me if you need any other, because I've been there. I've been that marketing team at the franchisor level. So just let me know if you need any other tips or tricks on how to get past it.
Perfect. Thanks, Cameron. Appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyone else want to bring up any questions or thoughts? Okay. Well, I hope that was beneficial. I hope what Cameron and Sheldon were talking about was something that can benefit everybody. I really do think, you know, it doesn't matter what you're doing, that your online presence, you know, can create a real advantage for you and really separate you from the competition or just bury you in with everybody else. And so, you know, there's a lot of great things we can learn from people like Cameron that have the expertise. So thanks for that. Again, going forward this week, if anyone does have any thoughts, questions, anything they want to discuss, please add it into the Facebook group. We can have the conversations there. But otherwise, thank you for being on. I guess one question I was going to ask, do you guys all get the replay when I send it out to you? Okay. I'm seeing
Not
a lot of nods.
Always.
Well,
Not always.
I didn't last week either. I have it under, I have it go to a separate email of mine. And last week I didn't get it. And so I actually checked my spam folder and it wasn't there either. And then I went into my email, whatever you call it, the service thing, and it said that it was sent. So I was curious to see if everyone was getting them. So hopefully last week I didn't send it till Thursday evening. It was a crazy week, but if you ever are wanting it and it hasn't got to you by, usually I try to get it out tonight, but if you don't have it by Thursday early afternoon, you can shoot me a email or something if you want it, and I can, if it's been sent and you haven't got it, I'll make sure it gets to you. All right, well, thank you for being on. Thanks for all the input everyone had, and I wish you all a good week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks.
Thank you. And Liz, by the way, I'm going to make a tech geek out of you anytime now.
And that's what I'm hoping, Cameron.
Hey, you've been the best so far with the share file system, so amen to you.
Because you were working with a blank slate.
Right. You're doing good. That's all I can say. You're a great student.
And Melissa, she's a pro at Evernote now. So you've got her bought into that system.
Wow.
Hey, I'm serious. I'm an Evernote fan right now. So at least I got my Evernote and I got file share down, and I'm ready to take on the next program, I think. Maybe.
We need to get you doing some automation then. Cameron, There you go, automation.
Exactly.
Well, I got some stuff I'm sending you, Cameron, so look for an email.
Okay, will do.
All right, okay, bye.
Hey, thanks guys. See you later.